Hello everyone. In this session, we'll discuss Cauchy's theorem. We'll also see the extension of this theorem. Before getting into this Cauchy's theorem, let's define and understand few terms. The first is simple curve, second is closed curve, and third is, we have seen this in theorems of vector calculus also, simply connected. So this simple curve means if the curve does not cross itself. So it should not cross itself. For example, if I draw a curve like this is simple. It is not crossing itself. But a graph like this is crossing itself, right? So in that case, this is simple, but this is not. Closed curve means that the initial and final points are same. So we need to have a closed path or closed curve. Obviously both of them are closed. Simply connected means a domain D is simply connected if every point, or I'll say every simple closed contour within it encloses points of D only. Points of D only. Let's see this. This is one curve and this one is another curve, right? We have two curves here. If you see the region enclosed, let's say this is D, will be entire space, this space, whereas in this case the domain will be only this part. Right? This part within this inner circle or inner closed curve is not a part of domain. Now it says every simple closed contour within encloses the points of D only. So let me take a closed contour in this case. This contour encloses these paths, these points, and all of these points are part of domain D. Correct? Every point within this closed contour is part of domain D only. So every possible contour should be following this same, and in that case it is simply connected. Whereas in this case, if we draw a simply connected, if we draw a closed contour like this will contain every point of the domain D. But if we construct a contour like this, it will be containing this region. It will be containing this region of which this region is not a part of domain, right? This yellow or orange, whatever color is this part is not part of the domain D, but it is enclosed within the contour. Let's say this was C2, this was C1, so it is part of C2 but not of domain D. In that case it is not simply connected, right? Now we can move to the theorem, and it says if f of z is an analytic function and f of z derivative is continuous, on a simply connected domain D, then for a I'll say, then for a simple closed contour C in the domain, obviously we have, or directly we can say, the integration of f of z dz will be 0. So the saying is, if the function is analytic and its derivative is continuous in the region or the domain we have been given, and obviously this domain is simply connected, we have seen just now what is simply connected, then any contour, any closed contour we will have in that domain itself, then the line integral of that function for that curve will be 0, right? That C should be a simple closed contour within that domain, and that domain should be simply connected and the function should be analytic. So we need 3 points: function should be analytic, the domain should be simply connected, and third is that the contour should be simply closed contour and obviously within the domain D. In that case the line integral will be 0. So this is the Cauchy's theorem. Also we will see the extension for this theorem. Extension: in case the region is not simply connected or f of z is not analytic at some point, so the condition was it should be simply connected domain and the function should be analytic. Now if it is not so, then we have an extension to this theorem, and it says, let's see that we have this domain D and this is contour C1 and this is contour C2, let's say. So we can clearly see that this is not a simply connected domain, right? This part is not included in the contour if we are trying to make. Then let's say D is the region between two simply connected curve, right? So you can see this D domain or D region is now between the two simply connected curve. If you see C1 alone, it is simply connected, and if you see C2 alone, it is also simply connected. So this domain D lies between C1 and C2, and both C1 and C2 are oriented counter clockwise. Right? What we are trying to do is, for this part I'll explain it, but for further equations or generalization, we will directly write the expressions. I'm taking a part out of this. Let's say this path is going inside as C3, and the same part very close comes outside as obviously minus C3. So what we are doing is, we are trying to make it as a, let's see this, like this. We are trying to approximate it as a simply connected domain. So this is C1, this is C3, this is C2, and this is minus C3. So if you start from, let's check the path you will have to follow. If you start from C1 here, you will then go to C3, it is in the same direction. Then this C2 is in the counterclockwise, whereas you are moving in the clockwise direction. You will be moving in the, like you will start from here, then you will go there, and then you will be in the opposite direction of C2, and then you will be coming back and you will be in the direction of C3, and then you will move in the C1 direction again, right? So this will be the path you will follow. In that case, it will be C1 in the same direction, C3 also in the same direction, whereas you are in the opposite direction of C2, so you will write it as minus C2, and then minus C3 is also in the same direction as the path. So this is the entire path which will be making it a simply connected domain. This is the overall path. Now if this is the overall path, we can say one thing, and it is, again we can apply the Cauchy's theorem here, and we can say that for C1 plus C3 minus C2 and minus of C3, f of z dz will be 0 as per the Cauchy's theorem. I'm writing CT. This is Cauchy's theorem as per the Cauchy's theorem, right? Because this will make a closed contour, and f of z will be within this, and it will be analytic. So this can be approximated that the integration for C3 and the integration for minus C3 will be so close and so approximate that this can be cancelled out, and we will be left with only two terms. This is C1 minus C2 f of z dz equal to 0. So this can be extended to C1 f of z dz should be equal to C2 f of z dz. We have to make sure that both the curves are in the anti-clockwise direction. If one of the curve is in anti-clockwise and another one is in clockwise direction, then one of this will be C1 and another one will become minus C2. Imagine C2 is in the clockwise direction in this case, then this integration will have minus C2. Similarly, we can extend it to more number of points where the function is not analytic. Let's say the curve is like this. Let's say this is C1, C2, C3 and C4. You can see that all these four paths are in counterclockwise direction. Yes. Then extension says that the integration of C1 f of z dz will be sum of C2 f of z dz plus C3 f of z dz plus C4 f of z dz. Right? That is, the C1 will be equal to the integration for C2 plus C3 plus C4, and in case any one of them are in anti-clockwise direction and rest of them are in clockwise direction, we will have to take care of the sign. Just imagine if in this case C3 was counterclockwise, then instead of plus C3 f of z dz we would have written minus. That is the only difference here.